What's up, YouTube? On my way to a beloved interview this morning, and I wanted to make a video about honesty. Like, too many people always constantly hollering about how real we are. I don't think that we be being real at all, especially when we don't be real with ourselves. I think people have gotten realness and honesty mixed up with vainness and validation. Like, you don't have nobody to be real with but yourself, which is your star player. You the one that got to walk with yourself. So if anything, I feel like people constantly say that they being real to try to, reel people into their life, but really they not being real. They being real with the wrong people. They being real for the wrong reasons. They not being real with themselves. That's the first thing. Honesty takes strength. Being who you are takes strength. For a very long time, I was being weak-minded and thinking more about what other people wanted for their lives. Not thinking what they wanted for their life, but trying to be what other people wanted me to be, or do what I thought other people wanted me to do, instead of doing what I thought was personally right, for my life, instead of what somebody else might have thought. So I realized this morning when I woke up, I'm like, yo, son, I'm not fitting to live my life based off of other people's expectations. Like, for one, somebody's expectations may be so high, too high, that they're unrealistic. And then the other person expectations might be so low that they rather see me stay at the level that I'm at. So I've reached the understanding that I don't need nobody's fucking validation or try to exceed anybody's expectations anymore, because it's not that motherfucking serious. It's not that deep to me. But it used to be, to the point that I couldn't think and I couldn't have mental clarity on what was going on. That's why my eyes are kind of puffy this morning, because I cried my heart out last night. You know what I'm saying? Just, there was a lot of things in my life I didn't understand that was going on. And my main thing is not taking care of myself. Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, I was just letting myself dwindle, worrying about the wrong fucking things. There's nothing to worry about. There's nobody to try to impress. Like, it's either like you accept me for who I am, or you don't have to be in my life, type of shit. You know what I'm saying? But I am smart enough to realize when somebody is there to help me, because there's been a lot of times where I said, well, go, I don't need you, blah, 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 this and the third. And then it ended up being that I did need this person, you know what I'm saying? Which is a real thing to fucking say. Being too egotistical, just tear your body down, tear you down, being judgmental of yourself. Like, I've judged myself for a very long time, and I know that the reason why I am the way that I am is because of the way that I grew up. But it's not an excuse to continue to be what pain and anger has successfully been able to do to my life, because I wasn't really taking the time to really understand and focus on what I want for my life. Like, I read something today that a person posted on Facebook. I won't say their name, but it's something about Marvin Sapp and Candy, where she sells sex toys or something, and she has like 10 million views and viewers, and somebody said something about that, that Marvin Sapp was being fake and stuff like that, and he was condoning her lifestyle. And then he came back and said that, there was a lot of people in the Bible, Moses was a murderer and stuff like that, but they were flawed, but they still got God's work done, basically. I don't condone her lifestyle. That's why I don't go to church, and I don't look at people that's in a seat of so-called position. I don't see them above me. That's the reason why I have the mentality that I have, because then they start talking about what they condone, like they're authorized to tell me what they think about my life because they feel like they're doing God's work. Even Hitler thought he was doing God's work. Even Jim Jones thought he was doing God's work. Even President Bush constantly talks about God's work and God's country. Even fucking David Koresh talked about God's work. So let's not keep on using God to just solidify the fact that you don't want to accept this person's lifestyle, which it's not something that you have to accept, because this person is still going to do them at the end of the day. So it's really no point of you saying that you don't condone something. Like, I really don't understand why people put people that high in their lives that you even listen to the fact that they don't condone what you do. That's why I was just like, you know what? In order for me to really live my life and be happy, I got to get away from people that feel like they can condone any fucking thing. Because in real honesty, I don't know what you do when you go home. You could have like 13 Chinese people locked up in your fucking basement, sewing your clothes and raping them every day. I don't know what you do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna let your words or your titlement of a gospel person or a preacher or whatever overlook the fact that I don't know what you do when you go home. The same way with Bishop Eddie Long, when they found out he was on some whole other shit after he just said that he didn't support homosexuality, but he's a homosexual. I don't have time for those type of things. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's going on with Marvin Sapp, but I'm just saying I don't look up to people to that point where I act like they're walking around with me 24/7 and that they know what's going on in my life and I know what's going on with theirs, because you don't know what's going on in their life when they go home. And the fact that he knows what's going on in her life somewhat, you know, or she looking to him for some type of advice or some bullshit or whatever happened, I don't know, because I didn't see, I just saw the status. That's when all this pressure and stuff start pouring in, like you feel like you got to change yourself. No, I feel like when you allow God or the universe or whatever you want to call it to move within you, Christ, however you want to call this thing, love, whatever, light, move within you, it's gonna move, honey. You can't stop. And when like Khalil Gibran said, the pain is the breaking that encloses your understanding, breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. That is a very real statement to make, because it is. These tears that I cried is a breaking of my shell that enclosed a lot of my understanding of why I was in so much pain, or why I didn't understand why I was so angry and why I was so upset and why I was so hurt or whatever. I had to really cry out my childhood and the things that happened to me, you know. So anyway, I'm done with this video. I just really felt compelled to talk to you guys about really following your heart and following what you love and really following your own voice of discernment that's within all of us. If you claw away all that shit and you find this peaceful voice that talks to you and teaches you how to love, listen to that voice, because it should not be that underneath all those other voices of stuff that people said to you. You got to bring your voice to the top, and all that other shit needs to go, you know. So, and if I would have listened to myself, a lot of the situations that I'm in today, I would not be in. If I would have really dug deep and really grasped that voice and listened to it, because everything that it told me not to do, and I did it anyway, I'm paying for it. So that's why I made this video about listening to yourself, really listening to that peaceful voice that tells you don't do something or go for this or whatever the case might be. But I got to get ready for this interview. So, and another thing, my pen here says choose from a number of possibilities, pick by preference or prefer to decide. I had to get this pen to remind me that it is millions of possibilities in the world. Do not choose one fucked up situation when you have millions of choices to choose, because every day is infinite possibilities. Everything is possible. I don't give a shit. Everything. Anything you can imagine is fucking real. You know what I'm saying? So if you believe it enough. And to back up that statement, people said I would never make it to California when I was a kid. They laughed at me. How you gonna do that? How you gonna do this? How you gonna do that? I'm here in California. I'm 24 years old. I've been here for almost 2 years. It took a while, but I got here. So I guess the question is now, who's laughing now?